Boy howdy, look at that pretty Texas blue sky. Happy Saturday, y'all. Gonna jump on here a little early this evening. About to head over to Huntington and spend some cherished time with Mom and Dad. My sister came up, so we'll go over there. Dad's got some old home movies from back in the 50s of my grandpa took. And look forward to seeing some of those. So out here looking, I got a different kind of pup that I'm gonna take my sister this afternoon. I got them from my Aunt Loretta. Different kind of pup in that she's already got some fur babies, but these are Sago Palm pups. At least that's what they call them. So I've got a couple over there we planted, and she'd asked for a couple, so we potted them up and we're gonna take them that way. How about that? Hope your Saturday's doing good. I can't help but mention this being September 1st. Got some vivid memories from this time last year. Of course, talked to you about the Hurricane Harvey rescue effort that so many were involved in. I played a very, very, very small role in shuttling some fuel down that way, and I was reviewing some things. And today, I'll never forget it. Of course, I was up on the Zello app and monitoring different channels that were in need. And there's a group of folks out of Lumberton, Texas. It's just north of the Golden Triangle, almost kind of encompasses it a bit. And there's a lot of stories of heroism and things of that nature, but those folks down there, I monitored their channel for a couple of days and was able to get them some assets. Lumberton was landlocked, if you will, so it was flooded on all sides and kind of cut off. And it was kind of wild. If y'all know anything about the Texas landscape, or anywhere for that matter, you'll have a dry spot and then a place maybe where you can't get across, and then another dry spot. Well, folks were stranded out there for days, and I listened to a group of just ordinary citizens that had lived there all their life, kind of banded together and worked through unofficial channels and took care of business. And they all fell into their own chain of command. There was no drama, just coordinated efforts, and it's kind of cool to hear about. They knew all the back roads and how to make sure everybody there around them was safe. One thing that impressed me right toward the end, a lot of things did, but I'll never forget, as things were winding down in Houston and folks were moving points east to try to help with the Vider and area and Silsbee and that whole mess down there at that time. They were looking for places to take boats, take place resources, things of that nature, as with any disaster. And the radio squawked, and a member of the Coast Guard came on and was asking this little ragtag band of ordinary citizens where they needed help and waited for direction. So a big entity like the Coast Guard knew that sometimes it's best to partner with the citizenry to find out where they could best serve. And the little dispatcher, the person that fell in that role for that group, treated them with the utmost respect and pointed them which direction to go. It was pretty inspiring to see that, everybody working together. That was today last year, so really wanted to point that out. That was a privilege to see that in action. But anyway, things pretty normal on the place today. Got to visit with my cousin Greg and Scott Dunn with Scott Dunn Fishing over at Shirley Creek this morning. Ran into him, and they're doing a breast cancer awareness on Lake Belton, I believe, next weekend. So for those of my friends from the Waco area, where I lived for about a decade and a half before we moved up back to the home place here, y'all can check that out. Pretty good event. Lots of things to do there on Lake Belton this next weekend as they raise money for much needed breast cancer research. That was a pretty cool conversation. Beautiful area out there in Etoll off FM 226, Shirley Creek Marina. Love it out there. It's funny, my cousin and I couldn't remember that FM road when we were talking this morning. 40 years now we've been going up and down it, couldn't remember the number. That's something. Oh well. Well, we had a chicken line bust, or a water line in the chicken house, rather. And I've been band-aiding it since I've been here. The old garden hose was hooked up to a PVC and it kept busting, so I just took the bull by the horns, as you will, today. And it's not the prettiest job because I need a few more tools, but we've got straight PVC ran in there with some valves. And the chickens are happy and got a nice steady stream of reliable water now. I guess y'all some of you may want to see the progress of the babies. The hatch was 8/22, so they're a little over a week old, but they're doing fine in their chicken condo. I can't go in there because that tent will block the signal, but let's see here if I can turn it around. Yeah, let's see, we'll go in here. Let me see if I can zoom it in, y'all. Yeah, ain't gonna happen. Anyway, they're loving life out here. I did find out that Big Al, to my surprise, has got a, I wouldn't call it a competitor by the looks of the two sizes, but one of these old white broilers I noticed today is another rooster. So got 46 of them, but only 44 potential layers. So Big Al's got him a little protege, if you will. And I guess I named Big Al appropriately because this other rooster is half his size. So Big Al's a big old rooster for sure. So we've got a bunch of layers coming on though in that chicken condo, as we call it. It's over toward Lufkin Way this morning. Kind of a good morning, good feeling. I know all of you have experienced it from time to time. I hope you've done this choice. I was cashing a couple of checks and was talking with the clerk, and I noticed she was laying a little bit too much money out there on the counter. She passed it to me, and I said, ma'am, I think you're $100 heavy there. And she looked at the check. She said, no, that's exactly what you get. I looked at it again, so why don't you recount that? So she did, and as she eased into that extra 100 that she'd given me, her eyes got about as big as saucers. Couldn't believe that somebody would point that out. But shoot, everybody I know does. I know y'all do. But I didn't think I could support her. If she'd have lost her job over me, I guess I'd had to pay the bills. I got to work hard to do my own. So figured my cheapest route was just to show her that she was 100 heavy, and we just part ways at that. But anyway, pays to be honest and to that ate me alive. I mean, straight up alive. Probably blown a motor in the truck and got 10 speeding tickets and had a flat all in one jump. Well over 100. So that's the right thing to do. But good times on the place. And I know I gave our biggest watermelon we harvested and gave to Mom and Dad last night. We're going to cut it this afternoon. And Kimberly sent me a picture of it split wide open. And I'm ready to get a good taste of that thing. It's red meat and looks good. And we're going to ease over there and see if we can't get in the middle of that. And maybe even some bluebell later on this evening. Let me do a little roll call, and we're going to call it a day. My buddy Phil is north of me. He's watching. Mr. Manuel Rodriguez, my buddy from church. He's on. How are you, sir? Carolyn, hey, good to see you joining today. Thank you. There's Mike from California, and Margaret. Donna Cox from Pensacola, Florida. Know that area well. Beautiful country out there. Cushing, right down the road. Yeah, Manuel said those kind of pups I'm needing to feed, talking about my sago palms. My aunt's on, and there's Miss Molly down in the Golden Triangle. She's right around the Lumberton area. I guess it'd be my great uncle, was a police chief down there for quite some time, way back in the day. Kathy Reed says, okay, yes, they are very poisonous. You're right. I did read that, and she's aware of that, but that's a good point, Kathy. They are very poisonous to animals, these sago palms. Let's see. Aunt Pat says she was in a flood yesterday in a landlocked, no exit out of town. That's a scary feeling. You didn't know. That's the thing about being landlocked. You wasn't planning to go nowhere until they told you you couldn't. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. You'd have been fine if you hadn't known. Hey, Gary, how are you? Good to see you on here. Miss Charlotte Roark, how are you? Caldwell's getting caught up. Yes, ma'am, I've seen that, Connie. I appreciate that. I hope you're enjoying those. I feel like I'm all storied out some days, and then I end up rambling for 30 minutes. Anyway. Hey, Jeannie Lawson, how are you? Barbara from Grosbeck, that's some of my old stomping ground outside of Waco there. Good old flat Central Texas plains out there. When I first moved out there, I was a little bit leery because I was taller than just about every tree around me. And at 5'1.5", that ain't saying a whole lot, but it's pretty country. North Georgia and Sandy, how are you? And Belinda wrapping it up there from Mississippi. So I hope I got everybody. But I'm going to cut it short, and I got a ton of things I can do here on the place today, but I think I'm just going to call it. And ain't no good to have a pretty place at the sacrifice of spending time with those you love, I guess. Got to find a balance. So I'm going to tip the scales away from working out here this afternoon and back toward the family side of it. I think that's the right thing to do. Well, y'all celebrate safely. Those of you celebrating Labor Day, I know there's a big event down at Shirley Creek this evening for those in the area. I think hot dogs and music and good times out there. But a lot of celebrations as we enter the last holiday of summer. I guess it's the official end of summer. Whoever made that holiday's never been to Texas, because we don't have but 2 seasons out here, February and summer. That's it. So I don't know that it ever ends. Hope y'all have a great weekend. I got an extra day off with Monday, so I'll just save the work for then. How's that? Y'all celebrate your faith tomorrow, and in the meantime, make a difference and be the light. Tell somebody you love them and mean it. All right, y'all have a good evening. We'll talk to you later.